New regulations for off-road vehicles set to take effect next week on the Outer Banks have many residents on the island upset. One group even filed a lawsuit against it.
The Park Service says the restrictions are necessary to protect beach nesting wildlife, but the locals here are crying foul. 10 on your side's Art Kahn's been on the Outer Banks for the last 2 days, and Art, it's a real battle shaping up.
You're right, Tom. The battle is being fought on three fronts. You have the Park Service, the environmental groups, and the native residents of Hatteras Island. And like most disputes, there are compelling arguments on all sides. Signs of opposition to the restrictions on off-road vehicles are not hard to spot on the island. Most are pretty blunt in expressing their displeasure with the Park Service's ORV management plan to take effect next week.
Our liberty's been stolen, and the pursuit of happiness comes in the remembrance of the past.
Or are we focusing more on the native stuff?
These residents are experts on the past. The Croatoan Archaeological Society is dedicated to preserving the island's rich heritage. Croatoan was the original name given to the island by Native Americans. Many islanders claim to be descendants of the Croatoan Indians, who were granted land rights by English settlers in the 16th century.
We're all related, and just because my skin isn't as brown as my great-grandfather's doesn't mean that I have any less right to that beach.
The Park Service would have a hard time in convincing me that there are no natives per se to Hatteras Island, especially with the fact that some people have been here 200 plus years. Their families have at least.
But much of that land is now federal property.
I recognize that before the park was created, they were in private ownership, but for the last 70 years, they've been they belong to the entire country, and the park is only regulating the property that is federal property.
The half that they get is the half that's the best part for our recreational needs.
Recreational needs that the local economy depends on, like Cape Point, a remote location that is hard to access on foot, but will forever be closed to off-road vehicles after next week.
Cape Point is a phenomenal place to catch Spanish mackerel and bluefish, and those guys just aren't going to spend the money on equipment to go someplace they cannot access.
Cape Point is one of a kind. What if they closed Grand Canyon, so you never could see it again?
But the Park Service says the area is a vital nesting place to endangered species that nest on the shore, and they are bound by federal law to protect the wildlife here.
When there's conflict with visitor use of the areas, conservation's to be predominant.
I think they're some type of swan.
Bruce Stotrup, a biologist, is visiting the seashore and enjoys bird watching. He is also looking for compromise.
And everybody will admit today we're so polarized, you're either in one camp or the other. And somehow that will change. It has to change.
The Cape Hatteras National Seashore stretches 67 miles and consists of more than 30,000 acres. 9 miles are open to ORVs year-round. 13 will be open seasonally, and 26 miles open to pedestrian traffic only. Now, the Park Service and environmentalists see the plan as an equitable compromise. Obviously, most Hatteras natives disagree. Art Kahn, 10 on your side.
And the Cape Hatteras Preservation Alliance has filed a lawsuit against the federal government to stop the off-road vehicle plan, which includes fees for mandatory permits to drive on the beach in Hatteras.